depends if you can hear the intro music. Can anyone hear the intro music? I don't know. Okay, hello and welcome at Book Lovers Companion. My name is Edith, and right next to me is my lovely co host, the Chattering Teacup.
Hello.
Yes, and we are here for a special event, a very special event. The book launch of A Fish Called Andromeda, and a very warm welcome to our guests, the author and the illustrator. Okay, let's see who they are. Let's reveal the true faces. They are not fish, or maybe they are fish. Let's wait and see if it's a fishy business or not at all. Hello, Cynthia, and hello, Yusuke. Hello and
Hello.
welcome.
Nice to see you. Thank you for having
Hello.
us.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
having
being
us.
here. Thank you. It's an honor to have you both on the show, and let's hope our uh, viewers get a good view of us and get a good view of what we are doing. So let's see if they can get a good idea what we are doing. So let's start.
Sorry, I have to take off the mask
Yeah,
now.
we don't
It was
want to.
good for the introduction, right?
Yeah, we don't want you to get too hot underneath
No.
your mask. Hello to Cynthia Huijgens from the UK at the moment, and welcome to Yusuke again from Los Angeles.
Yes. Thank you.
So
Nice to see you.
it's great to see you both and to meet Yusuke. Of course, we know Cynthia already because she's been on our show a few times already.
Every experience has been really fantastic. So thank you for having me back.
Thank you for giving us the chance to do this, and I still keep my fingers crossed that everything is working. We are or YouTube is recording this, and we should be live on Facebook as well. So hello to anyone who is watching, and let's hope we have a few. It says here four people are watching, so great, and I hope they get what they
They're
want.
probably all my family members.
It's okay. It's okay. Uh, Anyone who can't watch or will not be able to watch, they can always do so at a later time. Oh,
Fantastic.
we have a comment from Claire O'Brien. Congratulations, Cynthia and Yusuke. Great masks.
Oh, thank you,
Thank
Claire. I
you.
appreciate you
Thank
coming
you so
on.
much.
And I
Okay.
see Nate is on as well, and he was one of my early readers, so I'm really grateful that he's joined us tonight because he and his children
Yeah.
gave some fantastic feedback to the story in its early stages.
Okay. Yeah. Great. So my first question would be to both of you, of course. How did your collaboration start? How, when? I mean, the why is obvious, of course, but when and how did you start your collaboration for this wonderful book?
I don't know. Do you want me to answer first,
Yeah,
Steve?
go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah.
Me or you?
Oh, maybe you can start.
Okay.
From my perspective, um, I I got email suddenly from you, and that's all started for me. So that's from my perspective. So
Well, Yusuke and I are both members of the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, and every year they do an annual summer conference in Los Angeles. And of course, during COVID, they didn't do it live. They chose to do it online. And as part of that conference, illustrators can participate in something called a portfolio review. And I think there were several hundred that year. This would have been the first COVID wave, which I think was 2020. Kind of lost track of time, but I went to the conference. I attended it virtually, and I started to um, view the portfolio um, gallery, and that's where I found Yusuke in there, and I guess the rest is kind of history. I reached out to him, and we were able to agree to collaborate. So it worked out really well. And at the time, he was in Japan because of COVID. I don't know if I've lost you. I think we've lost each other. Perhaps my screen is blank.
can come back via
Are we back?
this
Oh
view.
yeah, you're back.
Okay.
Because you were prominent on the screen right now,
Okay.
Cynthia, when you spoke about your collaboration.
Um,
Okay.
I wonder how this collaboration works. Do you write the story, the whole story, and then the illustrator illustrates, or do you exchange ideas, or how does it work? I have no idea.
Well, I had written the story, and then I interviewed, I think, 7 or 8 illustrators that I selected from the SCBWI portfolio gallery, and I made a selection based on not just the work of the artist, but also who I thought I could work with. And Yusuke and I just kind of hit it off from the very beginning, and and just yeah, that's how it started my story. His pictures.
Yeah, so yeah, I got an email from Cynthia, and then maybe I asked, like, she was like, this is the project, and then this kind of art style, what I'm looking for, and if you have, pretty much open to talk about, so please ask me anything. And I think I asked too many questions to you, Cynthia. It might be too push on you. But that's the first hour communication, I think.
And Cynthia, how did you find Suki? How did you find your character for this wonderful book?
So I based that story really on myself in some ways, on my sort of recollections of myself as a child, and the the events are completely, fictitious and made up. But the character of Mr. Humphreys, I was really clear with Yusuke on how I wanted him to look, because I modeled him after one of my mentor teachers at graduate school, Mr. William Slack, who is no longer with us. But he was such a great teacher, and he was a very large man, and he had such a sweet, gentle approach to teaching. He never lectured, and he was really into art, very passionate about art, and he was passionate about teaching. And I loved how he married those things. And I thought, well, I wanted him, Mr. Humphreys, to be passionate about the stars, and also just be a very kind and generous soul, and into his community and neighborhood, and sharing his knowledge, but not in a like really overpowering way. It's not lectures, it's just fun.
So would you say it's about? You said it should be fun, not lectures, but Andromeda, I mean the fish itself, it turns out to be a bit more than just a fish.
Well, I mean, she does come from the stars, right?
Yeah. How important is it for you to not just have fun, but also put in a little bit of knowledge, a grain of knowledge in this book?
Well, for me, it's important. I don't want my messages to be overpowering or to be lecture, but to be, I mean, I'm an educator. I have a master's degree in education, so it's just kind of part of my being. But I also like a bit of quirkiness and whimsy, and the things that I appreciate are more on the art spectrum than logical, scientific stuff. But I do appreciate that there's a big universe out there, and we really don't know the first thing about it. But we can see the stars, so it's a good place to start with kids.
Oh. And the age bracket for your books, for what people who watch or who listen later on as well, the age bracket, who shall we buy it for?
Well, I mean, I'm advertising 4 to 8 year olds, but I just got another review the other day from Indie Reader, and they say specifically that adults will really love the message. So I think, I'm going to say 4 to 104. How's that?
It's perfect.
How difficult is it to write for children that are so small, so that it's not too much information, not too much text for 6 or 7 year olds, but still be kept interesting?
Well, my first children's book is a rhyming story, Polar Bear and the UFO, and I decided I didn't want to do that again. But I love that kind of. I love it when words rhyme and there's a certain rhythm and cadence that they follow. And so this story has a little bit of that, but it's not. There aren't any rules, or if there are, I just tried to break them all. So uh, yeah, it's hard to tell a story in 32 pages, which is what a typical traditional children's
Hmm.
book is. But it's a really fun challenge. So, and pictures are so critical. I mean, the illustrations in this book are phenomenal. And, starting with
Hmm.
the cover,
Yep.
and just, it's just beautiful
Yep.
and very artistic. And the illustrations, they have their own sort of story. What he's managed to put in there, really fantastic.
And what kind of technique did you use, Yusuke? I mean, it's watercolor, is it not? I'm not good
Yes,
at anything artistic, I have to admit.
Or is it a
it's
mixture?
basically, yeah, so it's basically watercolor, and but I would say mixed media
Hmm.
maybe. Um, so I did collage also,
Hmm.
using like a piece of papers and stuff like that. So maybe it's mixed media, but basically watercolors, and I play with different papers a lot. Then it's, yeah, it came up like that.
Hmm.
And did you have, apart from Mr. Humphreys, did you have how much freedom did you have to create your own ideas regarding the illustrations?
Oh, it was a lot of freedom, to be honest. So I think, um, so when I got email from Cynthia when she checked me in, she had her thoughts about this book is something like watercolor, and I read script and I totally picture that. I thought I could see that. I 100% agree. This story should be done something like watercolor. So that's the one thing we talked about before actually I started work. And about character design, like a lot of freedom, to be honest. And I did some rough sketches and I showed them to her, and she was like, "Oh, this is exactly looked like my teacher." And I still remember that moment, and that's kind of like, yeah, from her feedback, I was like, "Oh, I think we're on the same pace, same track." So
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and I try to really give Yusuke the opportunity to do what he does best, because the worst thing I could have done um, is try to control what was coming out of his paintbrush. And it's hard, I think, for a lot of writers to give over that control. I mean, you have to do it as part of the publishing process when you're with a traditional publisher. Someone else decides what your cover will look like.
Yeah.
Someone else decides how it will be formatted, the font, and how it will be typeset, and that sort of thing. And if you're writing a children's book, then the publisher decides who will illustrate it. So I feel really fortunate that I'm publishing.
I think we got, oh, Cynthia,
oh
you got
yeah,
lost in translation. Maybe no, not lost in translation, but maybe the
yeah,
internet.
I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, the last thing you said wasn't. We couldn't hear it. Okay. Maybe she can't hear us. Can you hear us, Cynthia? Can you hear us?
Think
Ah,
so.
connection. Oh, it doesn't seem that way. Okay. And now maybe she's coming on again. I don't know if she's can hear us. She's here. Her picture is here. But she Yusuke,
Yeah.
it's also quite interesting the way you portrayed Cynthia at the end of the book. Her picture is a very nice one, to be honest. It looks like a bit of a kissing mouth you gave her. Was it intentional?
Wait, sorry, which page?
Yeah,
The
her
last
picture.
page.
Yeah, the last page where it informs the reader about the author, about the
And
Oh
illustrator,
yeah.
the
and
fishes.
yeah,
Um, that was actually Cynthia's idea. Like we should like we can do we could use our portrait, but also maybe we could have something fun here. And then yeah, that was her idea to use like fish-ish illustration instead of our actual portrait.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
since this since fish is really important for this book,
yeah.
and especially like not actual fish, not real fish, but like the fish, like something handmade fish, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So we just made it, and that's also our hope that like if readers making your own fish after reading this picture book, that's our like that I think that's super beautiful. So this is a like part of it.
Indeed. And again, the kissing mouth for Cynthia, was it intentional?
um, well, it's kind of a jazzed up version of me, right?
Yeah, but
Um,
yeah, but the eyelashes. I mean,
I just thought I was going to go for a glamour look. It's
ah,
not often that you get to dress up and go to a book premiere or whatever. So I thought rather than just put in a traditional headshot, I was going to go all out with my fish. So that's what I did.
but I do seem to remember that you love to dress up when we meet. I assume.
Oh, yes, of course. Like for Halloween, which I
Yeah.
totally did. I'm sorry I didn't share a picture with you of Halloween, but I was again a witch, which is my favorite costume,
Ah, of
and
course.
the kids loved it. And one boy who had been here last year, he told me he's 5 this year. He's grown a lot, and he said you're not very scary. So I told him next year I'm going to be scary. So I have to work on my scare.
Mm. And what do you think? What should children take away when parents or great grandparents or grandparents or aunts and uncles read this book of yours to them? What is your hope for the children? What should they take with them?
Well, there's several threads in here. One has to do with the relationship between Mr. Humphreys and Zuki, which is intergenerational. And I think, so many kids don't have relationships with older people outside of their immediate family. And so I like, even now, I have friends who are, pushing 100. I would say that's intergenerational as well. And I have friends who are younger, quite a bit younger. And there's just a really wonderful exchange that takes place, um, and he embraces Zuki's imagination and plays along with her, but not in a condescending kind of way. So I like that part of it, and that she feels safe being with him, which I think is really a nice thing as well. Um, I think too for parents that helping children to be independent thinkers and to make their own fun is, I think that's kind of fading a little bit from our culture because so many kids have screens now that entertain them 24/7. And I don't know how many kids can actually make their own toys. But I love that idea of parents helping their kids to take on that kind of independence and creativity, because it does require a lot of ingenuity and creativity to make your own toys and to entertain yourself in that way.
And Yusuke, what is your hope as the illustrator of this book? What should children take away from the artistic point of view, from the drawings, from the characters, from the background, the houses, nature, space? What is your hope for the children to take with them after they looked through the book?
Well, my hope is I just want leaders. Like I said, I just want leaders to make your own fish and then play with it. That's my hope, you know. So, like, it doesn't matter how old you are, but like after reading this book, and then um, you'll make you use paper or you know, whatever, something around you. You just grab the stuff, something around you, and then make it your own fish, and then just play with it, or just put it on the wall or whatever. That would be super cool, and that's my hope, I think.
Mm.
Isn't the book also about um, never stop to believe in your dreams and not giving up?
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
definitely one of the threads. Absolutely. And
Mm-hmm.
this whole idea of discovery that comes after loss, um, which, you know, I think I read somewhere that that the Japanese character for crises is made up of two parts, and one part is about the danger, and the other part is about the opportunity. Um, and I think that we often just focus on the danger or the crisis without seeing it as leading to something that could actually be really great. And I think you know, we're sort of at a crossroads in um, our history of humanity, and how are we going to, the decisions we make now are going to affect the future for us and for generations to come, for sure. That's always been the case, but it feels like there's a sense of urgency now about some things like the environment, for instance, and paying a living wage to people and making housing affordable, and a whole host of things. And I think while it's easy to dwell on the negativity and become kind of bitter and angry,
Mm.
a really nice way to frame it for kids is that there's hope for something else, and to be able to see what that something else might be is really powerful,
Mm.
even if it doesn't exist, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Is it also the reason why you put your character not in a big mansion? Because Suki
Oh,
isn't living,
absolutely.
you know, she's rather
Well,
like
what would be the fun
it's
in that?
yeah. I mean, you said it says at the beginning, yeah, she was hoping to get the fish, but even a fish would be too much for the family
Before.
to afford.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that comes from my playbook, to be honest. I was constantly begging my mother to buy me things, and I did not understand that she didn't have any money to buy me things because she was a single mother working, supporting three young children. And so that comes from my playbook. And I think it's really, I think that's very real for a lot of kids today, is that there just isn't the extra coins for something like a fish that you have to feed every day. I've heard so many stories of people having to get rid of their dogs because they can't afford to, or cats, they can't afford to feed them because things are, you know, so difficult right now. And I think that just resonates with a lot of people. But it's my story as well. I mean, that was my upbringing, and so for me, it was just kind of calling back on something that had a really profound impact on me and made me like a doer and a and have drive and want to accomplish things.
Yeah, I think this is like it's relatable for almost everyone, because the message of this book is um, like there's always other way to make your dream come true. So that's really big, I think, and I love that. So maybe that's also my hope. You know, that's something I want leader to realize after reading this book, I think.
Mm.
I think it also makes it more special if you have to wait for something and think you're not getting it and get it in the end, than if you would get it at the first time you say your wish.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think it's worth more if you have to wait for it or work for it.
Yeah, I think I read one of the reviews of the book where the reviewer gave it 4.5 stars because she didn't like my treatment of the mother, and that the mother didn't heap praise on Zuki for making her fish and doing all these things. And I thought, yeah, that's intentional actually, because I think we, I'm a parent as well, so I have to be mindful of this. But I think we sort of throw out praise and we don't really understand how it's undermining our child's sense of independence, and they become habituated to that praise, and they start to seek it and do things that they think are going to bring them that praise. And I think it's really a complicated issue, but it's one of the threads in this book, for sure, is that, you know, when I was a kid, it was like we said, we're going out to play, and our mom said, be home when the lights come on, and we were gone. And there aren't a lot of kids that I know that can do that today. Their schedules are really highly regulated and supervised, and they have activities, and they go from, you know, one thing to the other. And I think we learned a lot when we were off on our own, just, you know, messing about, skateboarding, you know, hanging out in the neighborhood, snipping roses off people's bushes when we shouldn't have been doing, you know, stuff like that, just shenanigans. But that was all part of our upbringing. I think was really important.
So I think it's also a way to learn things by making mistakes, maybe sometimes.
Yep. How was it for you, Yusuke? I mean, you reside in Los Angeles,
Yes.
but you're originally from Japan.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit. I mean, Cynthia told us now about her upbringing, what it was like for her. How was it for you?
Sorry, what was the question again? So I mean,
How
yeah,
was
I'm
it
from
for
Japan, and
you being a young boy in Japan? How was it? Did your parents say? I mean, I've never been to Japan, so
oh, okay.
what was it like growing up as a boy in Japan?
Um, how was it like? Well, that's kind of hard to answer for me because because that's only my experience, you know.
Yeah.
I don't have like I'm born and grew up in Japan, but I have nothing to compare with it.
Yeah.
So I I I don't know. It was fun. It was okay. I appreciate my family and then my friends and all of support. It's but one thing I'm pretty sure is Japan is safe,
Mm-hmm.
so that's a good for kids, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And also we have like solid 4 seasons,
Mm-hmm.
so that might be also advantage for children to enjoy like all of the events about spring, winter, fall, summer, whatever, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like really different. It pretty much depends on what season you have right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's fun thing
Mm-hmm.
for children or maybe for adults as well.
Mm-hmm. And what about your artistic interests? Was it also supported, or did your parents say, "Oh, come on, you go the technology
Business.
route, or you will be a businessman"?
Yeah. So I went to college in Japan, and at that time my major was international law. And
Oh.
then yeah, and after that I got a full-time job as sales in Japan, and I quit my job when I was 26 years old. And until then, I have like literally no art backgrounds at all. And I told my parents that I'm gonna change my career and being artist, and they were super shocked about that, of course. But the good thing is, like to be honest, they are really looking me right now, and then even my dad started to draw and painting, and then he like keeps sending over me his like paintings and drawings, and then so I'm like, yeah, it's changed a lot, you know. But yeah, right now, like, I mean, most of the time, my parents, I mean, all of the time, my parents really um, supported me, and they're still supporting me. But like, as only as a moment when I quit my job and changed my careers, they were super shocked. But yeah, we just like constantly talking and communicate. and now they are like really looking for my new arts right now.
Mm. And did they get an advance copy of the book?
Not yet.
No,
Yes.
but it is
Um,
for sale in Japan on Amazon. So I
Ah,
suspect that some family and friends will pick up copies.
of course, of course. So,
yeah, some of yeah.
yeah. And did we mention goodies, Cynthia, for those who uh, write an email to us? It's running down in below. There's a banner now. Those who write to us the first five gets a signed copy of the
Yes.
book. Yes.
You better be
See who
quick.
takes you up on it.
Yeah, you better be quick. Everyone who's here and should be quick to get the signed copy. And
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
those who are here might have a question. I want a copy. Okay, Colin Walsh says he wants a copy. Does Colin Walsh get the copy?
Oh, I love
Yes.
it. Colin, you can have a copy. We will send one to you.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so you get one. Definitely. Okay.
Do you know, I
So,
would just like to say that um, that it wasn't just the two of us working on this book, that
mhm,
Tamara Deaver at TLC Graphics did the cover design and the
mhm,
interior layout, and she did a phenomenal job. Artie Wahidi, who's been with me for several years now, he did all of my website and branding, and he did also the trailer for
mhm.
the book, which I love. And if you haven't seen it yet, it's out on YouTube. You can just search it up there, A Fish Called Andromeda YouTube trailer. And he also did some coloring sheets that I'm using for book launch events, which are really fun. Um, Gabriel Young did the pattern for me for a plush fish toy, which
Mhm.
it's not out yet, but hopefully that will be something that goes along with the book. And then my son Eamon, who does all my social media stuff, he's great. He's really been busy the past weeks and posting. Um, and my early readers, Carmen, Patrick, Mimi, and Jay from Brussels Writers Circle, and then Nate also in Brussels with his family, and my husband Rucker, who's of course my biggest fan. So
Ah.
all of those people contributed, and I'm so grateful because
Mhm.
the final product is really really beautiful, and it's for me it's like a work of art. So I'm really happy with it,
Yeah, it looks.
and it
I'm still
it's
waiting for
got a lot of
mine.
heart and soul in it from several people.
Yeah, mine is still at customs.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, it's not your fault. It's not. It's absolutely not your fault. It's they are completely, yeah, beside themselves at the moment about everything that comes from the UK.
No,
They are
everything that comes from outside
at
the
the
EU.
EU.
Do you know
So
Brexit has really messed us up? I have to
it's
say,
not just. It's
it's a
not
shame
just.
because
No,
it didn't have to happen.
no, it's not just Brexit because when she gets her passes from Japan, might I add, they are also kept
No, no,
Oh my gosh.
sometimes.
they're sorry to
Oh,
say,
so
but
it's
they come
Austria.
usually expressed. No, it's the thing that they reduced the there's no limit, no amount that you are allowed to import. So from the first cent or pence that you're importing, it goes through customs, and they
Mhm.
charge you.
Uh,
And yeah, I think that's the reason why it's
Yeah,
so annoying.
a bit annoying. And Claire O'Brien says she would love a copy, and
Great.
she thinks it's beautifully done. So compliments from Claire.
Um, I
Thank you,
think
Claire.
Thank you.
I'll
I
make sure that Claire and Colin get copies, and also Nate, of course.
Yeah, in case do you know who they are? I suppose
I
you.
do. I do
Yeah.
know them
Okay.
all.
So they don't have to write an email.
No, I can follow up with them. That's not a problem.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be interested in the color scheme
Ah.
of the illustrations in the book. For me, the main colors are blue, green, and brown, but there's one picture done in red.
The dinner is ready one where it says dinner is might not be able to see it this one.
Oh, this
Dinner.
one here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
Yep.
and how you
Yeah.
decided on the color scheme and the importance of the different.
Okay, Nate.
Mm,
Before you answer, Nate Kearney says I sent an email with a special request. Okay.
Okay. I got it.
Okay.
so yeah, color scheme. Um, how how did I decide color scheme? So it's not like I think. So I worked on like whole pages at the same time. It's rough. It's not like a detail. It's not rendered yet, but I just put up all the rough, um, and then trying to match color with the story, you know. And that red page is it's sunset, and also like it maybe that's kind of saddest point of the for Zuki, and also turning point for Zuki. Before that, she's kind of happy um, for making her own fish, but that fish flew away, and then she's disconnected with her fish, and she's alone at that page. But after that page, maybe I should not spoil everything, but like after that page, it's gonna be getting better and better, better. So that's like turning point. So I just wanted to make it um, along with the story. So yeah, how I work is basically simple color and then like lay out them all together and then see how color should be changing with the story. And then I kept on communicating with Cynthia and then just, and got a lot of feedbacks from her and work whole pages at the same time, Not like
Yeah.
page one done, page two done, page three done, but just work everything all together.
Yeah.
Hope it makes sense.
We had a lot of dialogue. We did, and we had Yusuke was in Japan and I was in Brussels at the time, and we had Zoom meetings and we talked through things. And I think because this is his first book, he graduated from LA Cal Arts with a degree, and he's doing animation. He did his internship at Pixar, and I'm expecting really great things from him in his animation career. But I think he has such a keen sense of storytelling, and part of that comes through color, part of it comes through pattern, placement on the page, and just a testament to his ability. One of the recent reviews, we got a 5-star review from Indie Reader, by the way, and one of the things that they talk about is really his skill and how the text and the illustrations work so harmoniously in that. And that to me just was music to my ears, really. That's the best possible accolade we could receive, because that's something we hope to achieve, and to have pulled it off, I feel really so happy about and grateful. And I think it speaks to how we were kind of on the same page throughout the whole process, and again, we had freedom to bring what he can do to the project, which is great.
Now,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think. Oh, sorry.
No, no, go on.
Oh, thank you for everything about that. But I think what worked well for us is so Cynthia was being patient a lot. Like this is about control that she mentioned about before, but like she was really being patient and then gave me a lot of room for the creativity. And then I really appreciate that. And then it's so I think we did amazing. We made amazing picture book, and it's because like our communication, how we work together. It's not about it's not only about her story. It's not only about my skill. It's just about like how we collaborate together, and I really appreciate it. Like, yeah, you're patient, you know.
Yay!
Well, congratulations
It's
on
fun
this.
to celebrate it now because it's just about to go out into the world and people are seeing it. And I got an email today. I haven't told you this from Barnes and Noble. They want to see a copy of it. To
Ooh.
their buyer
Really?
asked for a copy of it. So
Oh
I'm
my gosh, that's
super
amazing.
happy
That's
about
amazing.
the potential
Yep.
of this book. So, but
Congratulations.
that's not why we made it.
Nah, but since you work so well together, is there more collaboration in the book for the future?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I would
Maybe.
love to.
See?
I have about 6 or 7 other stories, children's stories, and I I mean, this year I had spine surgery, which was huge, and I'm still recovering from that. And I just I wasn't even sure we were going to put this book out this year. To be honest, I told you, I'm not sure
Yeah.
if I'm going to do it, but I decided to go for it. And I think just going forward, I'm going to be more concerned about pace and do it on my timeline. But if I'm going to put out another book, I'm gonna ask him first, see, if he
Cool.
has time. Part of it was that he was on hiatus from school and had the time to do this project, and I think that was, a bit of serendipity that worked in my favor.
Yeah, I'm always excited to work with Cynthia again. Like her story is amazing. It's super rich. It's simple, but like it contains a lot of texture and feelings in it. And then it's so like I enjoyed a lot to make illustration with her story. And then I do wanna do that like more. So I'm always excited. Yeah.
Well, there you have
Thank
it.
you very much.
Yep. And your fans are looking forward to it, I think, won't they?
Yeah. There has been a suggestion, so
Yeah, see, there you go, there you go. So, what will be the
yeah.
future in the near future? What are the near future plans for both of you, Cynthia? What are your near future plans after publishing
So
publishing a Fish Called Andromeda on the 25th?
yes, of
Yep.
November, it's officially out.
Mm-hmm.
On the 26th, I have a launch, a book launch here in my village, which I'm looking forward to. I'm afraid everybody's going to turn out for it, which be mixed blessing. It'll be fun, but it'll be maybe a madhouse. And we're going to be doing things like turning this into something like this. Let's see this.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Toilet loo rolls into fish.
See, she
I
said
don't know
Lou.
if that came over. There you go.
She's you already arrived at the UK in the UK when you said Lou.
Yes, exactly. I know what
Not
loo
Made a
roll is.
transition.
not
Um,
bathroom.
No, and then next year I do have the 3rd installment of my Boy Between Worlds series coming out, An Eye for an Eye. That might be the last one. I'm not sure. So I'm still working on it. Yusuke,
Okay.
what do you have up?
Near future. I gotta do my laundry today after this. That's my near future plan. Other than that,
Keeping it
well,
real.
but well, I do want to illustrate more picture book. Just I just want to do that more. So that's my near future plan. I think for sure.
And sorry, Cynthia mentioned something about getting into a little bit dipping your toes into animation films as well, or are you doing that already?
Oh, I mean that animation on YouTube. Is that one you're talking about? That's not.
Yeah,
That's like I didn't do that. It's great though.
yeah, okay,
No. The trailer's not yours, but your profession is
yeah,
film
Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah,
animation.
yeah.
yeah,
My
Yep.
major in America is
yeah,
character animation. Yeah.
okay. And are you with a studio already? Did you get Did you get in?
No, I'm doing freelance job,
Okay.
but actually I'm shifting more to the picture book industry, to be honest. And I think I'm 100% sure about that, you know. So I just want to do more picture books.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And is it more
And I think
interesting or
for for UC, the process is to get an agent, and then to go from there to then to getting publications, and it's a bit of a
Yes.
process, and it's
Yeah.
very
Yes.
competitive.
Yeah.
But this first book is getting some really good reviews and exposure, and next month it'll be in the New York Review of Books, which is exciting. As I said, we had some contact and interest from Barnes and Noble. Also, it's going into independent bookstores here in the UK. I'm just shout out to One Tree Books and to October Books in Southampton, One Tree Books in Petersfield, and there will be others as well. So
May I
Oh
it's a
yeah.
mention
slow process. We're
since
growing it.
yeah, since you mentioned independent bookshops, may we mention Forum Books in the north of England?
the children's book?
They have a
Children book?
children's
Yeah.
section. They have a children's section. They are based in Corbridge, and we had
Oh,
Helen on our show, and she has now 3 bookshops, and
Oh,
might
awesome!
be
I should talk to her.
something you want to look into. It's Forum Books in
I
Corbridge,
love booksellers.
in the north of England.
Yeah, I
Okay,
forgot to
perfect.
mention I forgot to mention about that, but that's also my near future plan, like visiting bookstores and libraries, and then to expose our picture books. That's definitely my future plan.
I mean, sorry, may I ask, Cynthia, how do you do that? I mean, I'm a complete I'm a complete idiot.
inexperienced.
I'm a complete idiot. Let's be honest, where marketing is concerned. So, how do you do that? I mean, do you just go there and say, "Hey, my name is Cynthia, and I have this book"?
Yes,
Just
I go out onto the village square and I just stand up on a little box. No. um, but I'm operating outside of the traditional model, so I have to really work on partnerships and relationships, which I'm happy to do. I think those are longer lasting and more meaningful. I'm not chasing the big stores, but I would be happy if they would like to have our book and sell it. I think that things like the trailer that we have on YouTube um, are designed to bring people in to have a look at what we have to offer. Idle Time Press now has 6 books. We have 2 scheduled for next year. That's about as much as I can do. I rely on a team of skilled people and hire out for everything: editors, illustrators, marketing people, graphic designers, and those
Yeah,
sorts of things. And so, our ambitions are more local, and
yeah,
just trying to connect with the people who like what we're doing, and you know, people who are into slow, soulful experiences, because that's kind of what we offer. It's not fast production, it's not
yeah,
overproduction, it's not getting stuff out there quickly, trying to
yeah,
be commercially competitive. It's more about creating a really beautiful thing,
yeah.
and
Quality.
so that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Producing quality over quantity, and not, like you said, fast. Let's call it fast food or junk food in this
Yeah,
case. Yeah. Yeah.
and there's a gob of fast food out there, and I think people are choking on it, so it's hard to
Yeah.
sort of wade through that
Yeah.
and show them that you have something maybe different.
Yeah.
But I think different is good, so that's kind of
Yeah.
what I'm after.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So Claire had to say bye because she has to make supper now, and we have 2 emails which will I forward to you, Cynthia, because Nate has a special request for the book. So
Yes.
I will forward it to you then. So if our guests, our listeners, our viewers have questions for our wonderful author and illustrator, now would be the opportunity to ask them your questions, ladies and gentlemen, the audience. Is anyone out there still out there, or did they just forget to switch off their computer? No, no, they did not just forget. No questions from you. Not at all, none at all. So I'm just grateful we got an audio. I can hear you, and I didn't completely made a mess of the time. Sorry
No,
for
that
that.
was all good. It went
It's
smoothly.
fine. It's all good.
Yeah.
You know, wartime buddy is my best friend.
We got a bit panicky yesterday.
Yeah, a bit panicky is good. I was very panicky yesterday because oh God, what did I do? And then I realized I did make a mistake and I didn't see it. Not until Yusuke sent me his email. I said, what did I do?
No, it's all good. You're good.
Yeah.
Okay, Nate has a
I
question.
see Nate has a question.
Yeah, what was your biggest challenge during the process?
Yusuke, you want to answer first?
Yeah.
Most challenging process.
Now, what was the greatest challenge for you during this production of A Fish Called Andromeda?
So as an illustrator, I think my job is creating your own language to tell the story. You know, that's my understanding. And until get that point, everything is just challenging. Everything is just hardest. But once you get there, and then you'll create. Oh, this is a language which works best for story. Once you get there, everything it's just like everything comes after naturally. And then I still remember that moment. So I did this sketch, and actually this is like rough sketch for the cover of our book. And then once I done this, I'm like, oh, I can do this, you know. But until get that point, everything is just challenging, and I was like, I feel like I was in the storm, but I still love that process because I need to go through everything. But yeah, what about you, Cynthia?
Well, I think for me, I was really intent on making sure that you were at ease and felt a degree of trust that you could do your best work. I think part of that was leaving you to it, but maybe in doing that, you weren't sure if you were on the right track initially. But I felt like that was really important to give you some freedom to kind of find your groove, I guess. And I mean, there are a couple of illustrations in here that are just so, to me, really difficult to pull off. And one of them is this like night sky view, where you know the houses are all kind of around, and the sky is shown, and Mr. Humphreys is in the window, and he's talking to Zuki, and I, as soon as I saw that, I was just like, wow, this is exactly like, you know, if you were going to look up from a park bench, and see the night sky, and the skyline all around you, enveloping you. It had such a great impact on me, and I thought, yeah, this is just so great. But it was hard for me to, like, to resist temptation sometimes to just shoot off an email and check in, because I thought it's just going to be me, the supervising parent, like over seeing this project a little bit too heavy-handedly. So I was really sometimes challenging myself not to make contact, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think it was hard for you then to let go, in a way.
Well, I was aware of it. But there were times too when Yusuke would say, "I'm not sure about this or thinking about this," and and I, you know, if I had a really clear image in my mind, I would share it. But if I didn't, then I gave him the opportunity to do what he thought was best. Is that how you recall it?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, like I said, I really appreciate how and when you checked me, and maybe I should have sent you more constantly to share my works. Um, but
No.
but yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, thank you so much, Cynthia.
Okay. Any more
Gratitude to
questions?
you.
Any more questions from our audience, ladies and gentlemen? Now is the opportunity to ask them everything. What's in your glass? Cynthia, for example, in our glass we have tea and water.
I'm having a gin and tonic.
Oh, now you tell us.
Well,
We would have come prepared.
But you said it's a
oh,
children's
sorry.
book,
Well,
so we
We,
stuck
we,
to.
I didn't dare because it's a children's book and I thought we couldn't have tea.
yeah, but I'm an adult.
Afterwards.
I'm celebrating my birthday, actually.
Yeah. Again, happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you
Congratulations.
very much. Thank you.
No questions from our audience. Okay. Not yet, not so far. Teacup, is there anything else you would like to know?
Regarding illustrations, what are the different challenges? What do you prefer? Working with a computer, animating, or without a computer, with your hands, so to speak, the old-fashioned way?
I do both. I prefer work traditionally, like watercolor papers or like a more physical media. But what I did for this picture book is just scan everything that I did on traditionally, and then just do collage on digital. So kind of like a hybrid style, I think. And I do it most of the time.
Okay. Cynthia, Yusuke, is there anything else you would like to share right now?
I think we've kind of, sort of given our listeners a pretty good overview of how the book was created. It's to me, it just really exceeded my expectations at the beginning, but I think that that's over to the power of collaboration and another person that came into the mix, of course, was Tammy Beaver at TLC Graphics, and she laid it out in a really beautiful way. And she chose the font for the cover, which I think is really fun and just a perfect
Oh, I love the font.
fit. Yeah, it's just perfect. And inside too, the way she's laid out the text with the images and made them both shine in a way, I think was really, really great. So I think that she deserves a lot of credit for that in helping to sort of elevate our story and our images to another level. And I'm really happy about that.
It looks good. The whole package. I mean, it looks fantastic. Congratulations again
Thank you.
to both of you
Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
producing such a wonderful, wonderful book, isn't it? I mean,
And you actually, as a reader, you don't realize how much thought goes
Yeah.
into all these details.
Yep.
It's interesting to hear that.
Yep.
No, I think, I mean, it was months, and I can imagine. I mean, it was all during COVID, of course, and so Yusuke was in his home, his parents' home in Japan, and I was in Brussels, and you're cloistered, you can't go out, and so the story was done, but he was working on the illustrations, and we had some interesting conversations just about, what was happening in the world at the time, because it was so strange. And I think, there were a lot of things that were produced over COVID, and not all of it is good. But this stuff to me feels like a really good thing to come out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was such a like it's something that nobody experienced before, during the pandemic. It's crazy. But I was really lucky to work with Cynthia. Like I at that time I felt like everything just stopped. But I was working on this project, and then I got progress day by day. So that like I I could keep my own sake with that. So that was amazing. Yeah.
So it kept you sane in a way. Working on this project kept you both
Yes.
a bit
Yes.
saner
Yes.
than the rest of us, maybe.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Because
Without,
you need
yeah.
you feel like I said, like getting progress, and then like
Yeah.
every day is kind of like every day is different because
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
something. Well, something sometimes it didn't work well. You're working on it, but like you gain nothing. But it's still like something. You did something. It's different from yesterday.
Yeah.
So yeah, because of that, like I can't keep myself
Yeah.
in a healthy way.
Yeah. Well, good for you, good for both of you. So Teacup, any more questions? No? No more questions, it seems, from our listeners. So I would say thank you both for joining
Thank you.
us and giving our listeners the chance to hear our outro signation, and that means we're coming to an end. We're ending this broadcast, at least for everything who's watching. Maybe there will be another time to watch Book Lovers Companion live. Thank you very much, everyone who was there, and until next time. So,
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
bye bye. So